Good morning and Assalamu alaikum, my dears. So, hope you all are doing well and welcome to yet another session of A05 Signatures. So, as we did in the last class, we had an introduction about Anne Frank and the German Holocaust, and I also gave you a background about what Anne Frank depicts. Now, welcome to this session where I'll be dealing in detail with the text that we have to study, which are the diary entries on 2 days. Okay, so in this slide, we'll be speaking of the text, the diary of a young girl. So the two important diary entries or the excerpts from her diary entry. So these are just the important points that I've highlighted here. So as you can see, the first diary entry that we have to study was written on Monday, 22nd May 1944. In this entry, Anne Frank, she says that she feels very upset, and she writes that the attitude of many people towards the Jews have changed. So as I told you earlier, what Hitler was trying to do was he was kind of using a kind of a kind of power through which he could manipulate the minds or the consciousness of the people so that they would have this inner hatred towards the Jews. They were made to believe that the Jews were taking what was theirs, that the Jews was robbing them of their facilities, that the Jews were taking their place. So slowly, the attitude of the Germans, it started changing, and they also started showing a kind of hatred towards the Jews. So this was in the year 1944. So Hitler had actually started this for 4 or 5 years, and this was a time when it was at its peak, 1944. The Christians, meaning the people who are not the Jews in Germany, so the Christians, they blame the Jews for giving secrets away to the Germans, and the Christians believe that through the Jews, Christians have suffered terrible punishments and a dreadful fate. So what is implied here is that because of the atrocities or the cruelties that were happening towards the Jews, they were going into hiding. So when they went into hiding, what really happens here is that they were being helped by some other people who were the Germans, that is the Christians, implied here as the Christians. So these Christians, they were helping the Jews. Some of the Christians were helping the Jews for hiding, and they were providing them food and other facilities. And when the Gestapos, when the military, they find out that who's helping them, they capture these Christians, that is those of them who are helping the Jews. Only a few would be helping them. So these people would be targeted and they would be captured. And when they were captured, they had to suffer terrible punishments, at the hands of the Gestapos. So at the hands of the Gestapos, these Christians who had actually helped the Jews, they had to suffer a lot. And so these Christians, they started thinking that it is the Jews actually who had tipped them off. It is the Jews who had actually revealed that it is so and so people who had helped them. So what actually happens here is that when the Jews are captured from their hiding place or from whatever place they are there, so when the military, these Gestapos or the Nazis, when they capture these Jews, they torture them so terribly. They torture them by by means that we cannot even start to imagine. So when people start to threaten you and start to punish you in such terrible ways, there are moments when you give up, so you reveal the secret that these so and so people had helped me when I had gone into hiding, etc. So I hope the content here is clear. So here Anne Frank is saying that the Christians started blaming the Jews. Those Christians who had actually helped them, they would think that at this time of need we had actually given them food and helped them. But when the police captured them, they revealed that it's us. We are the people who had helped them. Okay, so it's like a very terrible thing they had did. So this is what is meant by the second point. And in the third point, Anne Frank is elaborately, she is conveying the Jew's position. He is saying no person, whether it's a Jew or a Christian, can always remain silent. Here it is referring to the concept of torture. So when you are being tortured, there are limits to how much you can remain silent. Okay, so you will give up. So then why should people demand the impossible from the Jews? So she is saying this is just what happened. When the Jews are captured and they are tortured, they will, reveal who had helped them and in which house they had stayed, etc. So Anne Frank here is saying, this is her quote with the lines that come in the diary. No person, whether it's a Jew or a Christian, can always remain silent. So there are limits to how much a person can bear, when they are being tortured. The German Jews who emigrated to Holland and had the right of asylum in Holland, they will have to go back to Germany when Hitler has gone. So in these lines, Anne Frank is saying that now many Jews have taken asylum in Holland. That is actually Holland as a country, it had given asylum to the Jews. But now the attitude of the people in Holland also was changing. That is, it was also become like very hostile kind of an attitude. So the Jews could no longer stay in Holland. They will have to eventually go back to Germany. Now, there are more points that are elaborated in that same diary entry of the same date. It's always heard that all are fighting together for freedom, truth, and right. But still, Jews are regarded as worthless. So everyone's struggle is the same, We all are struggling for the same thing, for equality, for freedom, for truth, for what we think is right. But still, the Jews are regarded as something very worthless. An old truth is confirmed. What one Christian does is his own responsibility, but what one Jew does is thrown back at all Jews. This is again another important quotation from the diary. That is in this line. In this line, it's said that Anne Frank is saying, when one Christian does something wrong, it is taken as his own responsibility. That is, he is only blamed. But when one Jew does something wrong, all the Jews are blamed. The whole community is blamed. People start saying like, we cannot trust these Jews. They are so bad. What the other one did one day, you want to hear? So they start, blaming these Jews. So what one Jew does, it is thrown back at all the Jews. She hopes that the hatred of Jews will be a passing thing and the Dutch will never lose their sense of pride. The Dutch here refer to the people of Holland. So she's saying that she is hoping really, when she's writing this diary entry in the year 1944, she's actually saying that she hopes that this will be a passing thing. This hatred for the Jews will be a passing thing and people will eventually start to like them, and the people of Holland will not give them up. So this is something that what can we say, Anne Frank really hopes. And if the terrible threat comes true, then the pitiful little collection of Jews will have to leave Holland and move on with the little bundles and leave that beautiful country which once offered a warm welcome to them and which now turns its back to them. So she's saying, if the Jews, if the people of Holland or if the Dutch, they start seeing, losing their sense of right, and they start making the Jews go back to Germany, it will be a really terrible thing because they will have to leave that beautiful country. So for Anne Frank, they have accepted Holland as their fatherland. Motherland and fatherland. Motherland is a country that you are born in. It is the country where you have your roots, so to speak. Now Holland is a country that had helped them in their time of need. When Germany was becoming intolerant of the Jews, when there was intolerance against the Jews and the Jews could no longer stay in Germany, it was Holland that had given them asylum. And now even the Dutch or even Holland was trying to become hostile. So she was feeling very sad, and she's saying that she hopes that this day would never come when the people of Holland will turn their backs on them. Now, finally, it says that she expresses her love for Holland and she hopes that it might become her fatherland, and moves on with that hope since she has no native country. So, it's a very pitiful situation here where you find that Anne Frank has no native roots. She is basically she has become stateless. That Germany has given them up, and now Holland has adopted them, but on the other hand, they might turn their back on them. So she's saying she really hopes that Holland will be their fatherland. Fatherland is the place where you start living. The place, not the place where you are born, but where the second place where you start living. So she hopes that Holland will become her fatherland, and she believes that, and she lives on with that hope. Now, that was one diary entry which you had on Monday, that is the 22nd of May. Now, the second entry is 3 days later, 25th of May, 1944. It's a Thursday. And in this diary entry, she is saying that Anne Frank, she comes to know that their vegetable man, the person who had supplied them vegetables, he was picked for having 2 Jews in his house. It is a great blow to them. Now, this man who had helped them in many ways, he was, picked up by the Gestapo, by the military, because he was giving help or giving giving his home to 2 Jews. Now, respectable people are being sent off to concentration camps, prisons, and lonely cells. People are some way taken underground. So in many places, people are being taken underground. People are, being just disappearing. So it's a very tragic or a very terrible thing to have happened. Many respectable people. So she is saying that they could also be any day taken off to these concentration camps. Anyone who isn't a member of the NSB, the name of a Nazi political party, doesn't know what would happen to him. So anyone could be taken away either for being a Jew or for helping a Jew. So either way, people are all in a kind of fear, living in a kind of fear. So if you are not part of a political party, then there is no telling what would happen to you. They have to survive by eating less, since things aren't going to be pleasant anymore. So here she's saying now that their food facilities are going to be food facility has come to a minimum. So they have to survive by eating less, since things aren't going to be pleasant anymore. Now they have little ration, so they have to eat less. She feels that even though they are going to be hungry, anything is better than being discovered. So here again we find her courage, how she is going to live through these circumstances. Like we see people always saying, if it was a Malayali, he would have committed suicide long ago. It's something, a very oft quoted thing that people always say about us Keralites, Malayalis, that we don't have this courage to face life. People always give up very easily. The easy way out, suicide. So Anne Frank, she was suffering so much. She's a very young girl. It has been I think she had been living in hiding for more than 2 years before she was discovered and taken to the concentration camp. And even though they have so little to eat, and they are living in a hiding with not much facilities, even then she says that this is better than being discovered. She wants to go on living, and she wants to fight. She has so much within her, this power, this courage, this kind of optimism in her life, that she wants to go on living. So she is really hoping that one day she will be free and she will publish her diary, etc. So this is a very special girl you can see here, Anne Frank. So these are the 2 diary entries that you have to learn. One was written in 22nd May 1944, the year you should not forget. It was 1 year before the Second World War came to an end, 1944, 22nd May. Then the next entry comes 3 days later, 25th May. So basically these 2 diary entries show the worsening situation, how the situation, this was I think a few days or few months before she was captured to the concentration camp. So this was somewhere the last entries that were to be written. So that is all that you have to know about these diary entries, the text that you are studying. Now here I have included a very beautiful quote here. That is, Anne Frank was a young woman. She was filled with hope. She had many wishes and dreams for her future. Despite the isolation and fear of living in the annex, Anne tried to keep a positive attitude and to never give up. So this is something, a beautiful message, that we have to learn. This concept of, holding on, having this positive attitude, whatever happens, I'll never give up. Now, Anne wanted a career when she grew up. So she was very career-oriented girl. She wanted to, work. She wanted to do so much to the world. She wanted to contribute so much to the world. But, as fate would have it, she had a very short life. Her diary came to serve as a symbol of Holocaust. She died shortly after. When she was captured and from the concentration camp, she acquired a kind of a disease. I think it was TB or something, and then she died. So she had a very short life, but still she was able to give out such a beautiful message. This hope for the future, this kind of an attitude that, whatever happens, we should be strong. So that is all. I hope you enjoyed today's class. So thank you.